What if I told you one of Europe's most powerful kings began his marriage with a humiliation so shocking that it became gossip across the royal courts? A bride, a bedchamber, and an accident so embarrassing. It was whispered about for centuries. Was it true, or just a weapon of propaganda? Today, inside Throne of Scandals, we unlock the bizarre, scandalous story of the king whose bride soiled herself on their wedding night. The year was 1770. France was one of the richest and most glittering kingdoms in Europe. At Versailles, where golden chandeliers lit up grand ballrooms, a royal wedding was about to take place. The groom, the shy, awkward 15-year-old Louis Auguste, who would later become King Louis XVI of France. The bride, a lively 14-year-old Austrian archduchess named Marie Antoinette, daughter of the formidable Empress Maria Theresa. It wasn't just a love story, it was politics. This marriage was meant to unite two powerful dynasties, the Bourbons of France and the Habsburgs of Austria. A wedding of strategy, not romance. But no one expected what came next. Because, when the doors of the royal bedchamber closed that night, the beginning of their marriage turned into one of history's strangest and most humiliating scandals. Royal weddings weren't private affairs in 18th century Europe. Imagine this. Hundreds of courtiers gathered, watching as the bride and groom were led to bed. Yes, literally escorted to their bed. It was tradition for witnesses to see the royal couple tucked in, ensuring the marriage was official. Now imagine being a nervous teenager, expected to perform as the entire kingdom waited. That pressure alone could ruin any wedding night. But what reportedly happened next shocked everyone. According to satirical pamphlets and vicious gossip that spread in Paris, the young bride, Marie Antoinette, was so nervous, so overwhelmed, that she accidentally soiled herself. Now, here's the twist. Historians are divided. Was this true, or was it propaganda meant to mock the Austrian princess? At the time, Marie Antoinette was already unpopular among many French nobles. As a foreigner, she was seen as an outsider. Pamphleteers and satirists often spread cruel rumors, from affairs to wasteful spending. And this wedding night humiliation may have been just one of those smear campaigns. But whether true or not, the story stuck. It became one of those whispered tales that followed her throughout her life. And if you think that was the worst of their wedding night troubles, oh no. The real embarrassment was just beginning. For 7 long years after their wedding, Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette failed to consummate their marriage. Yes, 7 years. In a world where producing heirs was the ultimate duty of royalty, this was a disaster. Europe's most glamorous couple, the future king and queen of France, couldn't do the one thing everyone expected: produce a child. This failure became a subject of mockery in every royal court across Europe. Pamphlets called the king impotent. Jokes spread that Marie Antoinette would never become a mother. Some even claimed she was having affairs because her husband couldn't satisfy her. So, what was the real issue? Was Louis XVI impotent? Historians suggest something a little less dramatic. Louis may have suffered from phimosis, a condition that made intercourse painful. Others argue he was simply shy, inexperienced, and reluctant. It took years before he finally sought treatment and advice. Eventually, the marriage was consummated, but the damage to their reputation was already done. And here's where the wedding night rumor comes back. Did the story of Marie Antoinette soiling herself gain traction because the couple's failure was already a laughingstock? To understand this better, you have to step into the world of libels, underground pamphlets in France filled with scandalous gossip. These pamphlets were the tabloids of the 18th century. They spread outrageous claims about royals, affairs, orgies, corruption, you name it. And Marie Antoinette was their favorite target. She was painted as wasteful, immoral, and foreign. Even the ridiculous story of her soiling herself on her wedding night was believable to the public because it fit the image these libels had built of her. In a way, that single rumor symbolized something bigger: the decline of the monarchy's dignity. If the king and queen could be mocked so openly, even for something as private as their wedding night, then the divine aura of royalty was fading. And, as history would show, that fading aura would soon give way to revolution. But before we jump to the guillotine, let us linger on the irony. What started as a nervous teenager's embarrassing moment, or maybe just a cruel rumor, became part of the myth that destroyed a monarchy. Marie Antoinette never escaped the rumors. Whether it was about her wedding night, her supposed affairs, or the infamous line, "Let them eat cake," she was always at the center of gossip. Much of it wasn't true, but the people of France, suffering under economic crisis, were quick to believe the worst about their queen. She became a scapegoat, and the wedding night story was just one thread in a long web of slander. We all know how it ended. Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were swept up in the French Revolution. Both were executed, their heads severed by the guillotine. But even in death, the humiliations of their marriage, from the unconsummated bed to the soiling rumor, lived on in history books, gossip, and scandal. So, was it true? Did Marie Antoinette really soil herself on her wedding night? We'll probably never know. Maybe it was just cruel propaganda. Maybe it was an anxious accident. Either way, it shows us how even the most powerful figures in history could be undone not just by wars or politics, but by stories. Stories that humiliated them, spread like wildfire, and shaped how the world remembered them. And that's the real mystery here. Not just whether it happened, but how a single embarrassing rumor could echo through centuries. If you enjoyed diving into this strange, scandalous corner of history, make sure to unlock more secrets with us here at Throne of Scandals. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a story hidden behind the golden doors of the past, because history is full of mysteries.